one of the most frequent comments that I receive on my YouTube channel from blind women is that you wish you would just go out there to the store the way I do, or to a restaurant, or to do, buy shoes or clothes. I share videos with you when I just go to the clothing store and I start walking around, blindly. And you usually mention that you wish you would do the same, but you feel embarrassed about being out there by yourself because embarrassed about making mistakes. Well, here goes my answer. This is Anna here on Blind with a Vision, where we always have a vision, and the vision for the moment is to answer that question. I'm actually here sitting at In-N-Out. I just had my burger, fries, and drink. And I usually come to this In-N-Out by myself, but in the last weeks I've been here with my videographer. She's been really nice and very helpful, and she quickly learned how to help someone that is totally blind. But I usually come here by myself. This is one of my locations where whenever I need a break from the blindness.
Guest number 98, please. 98.
It is getting a little loud here, but whenever I need to take a break from the blindness, this is the closest In-N-Out to my place, very close. So everyone here is really nice. In-N-Out is very inclusive. And this is one of the locations where I can just feel good, and I know I will not be excluded and mistreated. But my answer to your comment is that I totally get it. I totally understand. I know how it is to be embarrassed about being blind and people seeing you bumping into things and making mistakes. I used to feel like that years ago, but I got over it. Why did I get over it? Because I adapted to just having to be out there because I had to. I don't have a support system, not really. I don't have an inclusive family and siblings and sisters and people that in the family or relatives that are actually there for me. I always say it out loud, and I'm not embarrassed to say it. No, it is usually strangers out there helping, saving me. It is usually my strange family out there who see me getting lost and bumping into things and just looking weird and walking blindly. And I'm not embarrassed anymore. Why? Because I actually was forced to do it by myself and to receive help whenever I had someone, like my videographer here, who's been pretty inclusive and very just, I don't know, she just behaves quote unquote normal around me. And if she has a question, she will just ask. And I think that, whenever we're embarrassed, we don't really want to talk about the blindness and making mistakes. We're just kind of wasting time, but I totally understand why you don't do it. Well, my answer is that I totally validate your feelings. Number two is that someone that is, we're
Guest
blind.
numbers 96 and 99, please.
Wow,
96 and 99.
This is loud. Well, number two is that we have to reach a point where we understand that it's more painful just to be in the house and not just getting out there to start practicing how to adapt to the blindness and to continue practicing how to stop being embarrassed, right? But more than anything, the number one thing that allowed me to actually not be embarrassed about the blindness in the house or, with family members, even in the house or just out there, is the fact that when we, understanding that when we are blind, we will never move the same as when we have sight. Sight gives us infinite freedom to just quickly look around, and even if you're busy with your phone or just chatting with someone that you're walking with, or if you're on the phone talking to someone, you can just quickly glance around and quickly see whatever is around you, right? If there is a step up, a step down, stairs. No, when we are blind, we will never walk the same. Even if you were born blind and you have all the mobility and orientation and mobility training, we do not. We have to walk with a cane, right? We move differently always with the cane or the guide dog, and we have to use our senses, our hearing, our smell. When I go to the mall, I usually smell Starbucks and I go like, this is a point of reference. And if I smell the churros, the cinnamon, which I love, pretzels, I know exactly where I am. But I start kind of even moving. Right now I'm doing it, like moving my head, and my hearing to see if I hear specific sounds. So I'm already moving different, right? And to other people, I look a little different. Like if I'm lost, right? I'm using my cane. I'm using looking for Apple or looking for Windsor, my favorite store. And sometimes I just, with our cane, I bump into things, or so people think. But no, it's my way of seeing if there is a pole, and I just, walk onto the pole. But my cane feels. I see the pole with my cane before I actually bump into it. To people, to them, they think that I bump into something. No, my cane, my white cane saw it, and of course it travels from my head, all the way from my hand to my arm, and then to my brain, and I say, oh, that is a pole. Or if I, feel the wall. Now it's different when someone approaches you and they interrupt your walking, your blind adventure, and then they make you make a mistake. And then you bump your head, or I don't know, something, and then they go, oh, they think that you did it because you're blind. And no, they actually didn't even ask if they could, if you want to help. And they make you bump yourself or hit yourself. And it is embarrassing. But you know what? All you have to say is what I'd say. It's like, this is what happens when you're blind. Or thank you so much. Don't worry. I just, whatever. And being embarrassed, I totally understand. But if you're going to be embarrassed for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, and then you're just going to be in the house, the embarrassed turns into a painful and isolated life. Honestly, we're not very, I don't know, there is people that is lucky and they have all the family in the world. Like for me, I don't. For me, my quote-unquote friends disappear, siblings disappear, no one is really interested. I'm lucky to have my auntie, who's 82. She's always very inclusive. She always calls, checks on me, and arrives there to my place with food, and we go out and eat and have meals, and I go and visit, and here and there. I don't really go there much, but I do. So if you have someone to go with and you feel better, go ahead. But if you don't, and this is preventing you from just, I don't know, adapting to the blindness, at some point you need to stop, because you will never be able to walk the same. Sorry to be so harsh, right? The other thing is that it is okay if they see us making mistakes. It is okay, right? Most people out there are really nice. Most people is very compassionate. And all you have to do is laugh about it and break the ice and say, yeah, it's fun to be blind. Sometimes I joke about it. I say, like, it is so fun to be blind. It's not, but it's my way to break the ice and just make people feel comfortable. And believe me, that one of the most important things that I'm going to share here with you to make this video not so long is that whenever you start adapting and going out there, you start liking it. And then you, it's a huge battle just to go to the mall. It's like the biggest battle ever. But once you have your small victories, they make a huge difference, right? Like when I go to the mall and then I'm just walking and I'm not finding Apple, even though I've been there a million times, right? But there is a lot of people, and for some reason that day I'm not really concentrating. I just go into any store and I say, excuse me, I'm totally blind. Can you call security and ask them to come here and, take me to Apple or to Sephora or to whatever store? And that's a service they have at most malls, right? You can call a security guard and they come and take you. And then when you're gonna leave the store, they come and get you and take you to the next store. But just make sure that you have a specific point where you're gonna be exiting the mall, and that's where your transportation is gonna pick you up, right? I use Red Robin. I always share that. So that's a plan that you have to create. If you're gonna do it for the first time, find a location, find the transportation, find the door, and sometimes I just get lost getting to this particular exit. But I don't mind just asking people. If people is what, excuse me, which way is, whatever, Red Robin or whatever. Or I've been using Nordstrom in the last weeks. Well, that's what I do. And most people will save you. And the more you do it, the more you just want to get out there, the more you adapt, the less embarrassed you feel. And I know this happens a lot when you are low vision, but come on, you have the low vision to kind of still see like the walls, even if you don't recognize the colors and the stores. You can just, you know, I know sometimes when we're low vision we make more mistakes, like because you think it's something it is what is, it's not really what you would think. But yeah, I don't know, that's what I do it. And I here at In-N-Out, they're really nice and inclusive, very inclusive. So this is a place where I found that I'm okay if they see me looking kind of lost. And by the way, when you go to a restaurant, you gotta make sure that when they find you a table, you sit next to the exit. Because in a fast food place, restaurant, it's not like they're coming to your table and you can say like, hey, can you help me to go there? Like, no. When they find my table here, I always tell them, can you find a table close to the door, to the exit? Because, you know, I'm waiting for I'm gonna get my Uber or taxi or whatever. And then I just do it by myself and just make sure that if there is more than one door, 2, 3 doors, that you make sure to tell them that, like, take me to a table that is closer to the main entrance where your ride is going to pick you up, because that has happened to me where I go like, this is not the door that I was hoping for. And I don't know, I'm not embarrassed anymore. Hey, I didn't ask to be blind. It is what it is. It sucks. It really sucks. It's not that we want to have the blindness, but oh well. It's more, believe me, that it is more painful for me to just be in the house. And sad because I don't have an inclusive family, or because they don't care, they don't invite me anywhere, whatever. Well, I always say I can always come with me, myself, and I always have me, myself, and I'm still being able to move. And I want to make sure that I actually keep moving, because use it or lose it. The body will, you know, start getting sick if you don't just move. I was telling my videographer that again, Sunday, but I got on my treadmill 45 minutes and I play music. Hey, you have to do whatever you have to do to remain quote unquote healthy, because these stinky eyes, they die, right? And we have to live with this grieving. Honestly, I always say I have to live with this eyes vet 24/7, and they're always like, this blindness is always saying like, hey, peekaboo, I'm here. But I've been able to quote unquote ignore it, and just for my own sanity, and because I don't want just to continue getting more physical illness besides the blindness, I'll just, take care of myself. Anyway, I hope this helps. I hope at least this video helps you reflect on this idea. And it's okay. It's okay if you just bump into things and they see you making mistakes, and it's okay to feel embarrassed. Just say something to break the ice and, move on. Anyway, I'll talk to you in the next video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next vision. Bye. Bye for now.